What's up, y'all? It's Dr. Paul with a comic book mail call for Liberty Hill Comics, where I share my passion and over 40 years experience comic book collecting, investing, and conservation with you. Today we're doing an unboxing of a Golden Age comic book that I purchased from Can Comics. It's a Golden Age issue of All-Star Comics featuring the Justice Society of America, and it comes from a Pedigree collection. So in this video we're going to discuss All-Star Comics, the JSA, and Pedigree Collections, and I'll show off my new pickup. If that sounds like fun, stick around. While I cut through this packaging, I want to remind you of our weekly comic book conservation show, which airs live Sundays at 8:35 Eastern. Hope to see you there in the chat as I discuss everything comic book conservation related with my co-hosts Phil from Phantom Restoration and Larry from Flying L Comics. Before I reveal this beauty, let's do a little JSA background. The Justice Society of America were the first superhero team in all of comic books, and some believe they were the greatest superhero team to ever grace the pages of funny books. When comics fandom got started in earnest in the early 1960s, putting together a complete run of All-Star Comics was a rite of passage, considered a must for anyone who was a serious comic book collector. All-Star Comics featured the JSA in 55 issues, published over 11 years, from their first appearance in issue number 3 in 1940 until issue number 57 in March of 1951. Some consider the last issue of All-Star in March of 1951 to be the end of the Golden Age. All-Star Comics had 3 writers for the entire 11-year run. Gardner Fox, the first and greatest of the writers, wrote 2/3 of all their tales in the Golden Age, including their introductory story in All-Star number 3. All-Star Comics was published by All-American Comics, which was co-marketed with National and Detective Comics under the DC bullet at the time, and later merged into the company we know today as DC Comics. All-Star Comics is one of the most important Golden Age comic book series, and it has several big key issues, in addition to the first appearance of the JSA, including the first female superheroine in all of comic books, Hawkgirl, in issue number 5, the first time Batman and Superman meet, in issue number 7, and the mega key of the series, the first appearance of Wonder Woman in issue number 8 by William Moulton Marston. It also includes first appearances of JSA villains Brainwave in issue number 15, the Psycho Pirate in issue number 23, the Wizard in issue number 34, Perdegaton in issue number 35, the Injustice Society in issue number 37, and The Alchemist in issue number 42. Issue number 57, the last issue, is the first and only appearance of the villainous Key, as well as the last Golden Age appearance of Dr. Midnight, The Flash, and Green Lantern. All 3 would be absent from comic books for over a decade after this comic was published. All-Star Comics is one of the most important and influential of Golden Age comic book series and is highly sought after by Golden Age collectors. It's my favorite Golden Age title, and one of my life goals is to complete the Golden Age run in mid to high grade. I now have over 60% of the complete Golden Age run of All-Star Comics, so copies that meet my buying criteria are getting more difficult to find each day. And if I want to keep making progress on my collection, I have to be satisfied with either fewer comic books each year or paying more for them. But these decisions are all part of the hunt that we enjoy as collectors, so managing them is par for the course if you're trying to put together a truly epic collection. Wow, what a beauty. I wasn't sure what to expect at 6.5, which is mid-grade, upper mid-grade perhaps. But this really presents well. It does have a few flaws that I think keep it in this grade, but man, what a looker. So, what is this and why do we care? This is All-Star Comics number 21 in CGC 6.5 Universal with off-white to white pages. It's the summer 1944 issue, published in the golden age of comic books toward the end of the Second World War. The JSA story is written by Gardner Fox and illustrated by Joe Kubert, Sheldon Moldoff, Stan Aschmeier, and Joe Gallagher, who also drew the striking cover. There are 74 universal copies in the CGC Census, which makes this a pretty typical issue of All-Star Comics. We'll look at the rarity and market value in more detail in a moment, but first, let's take this opportunity to chat a little bit more about pedigrees in general and the Ohio Pedigree specifically. For those of you not familiar with pedigrees, Pedigree Collections are comic book collections that the collecting community recognizes as special because of their rarity, high grade, and the size of the collection. Because CGC has a very prominent role in comic book collecting, preservation, and conservation, they've been a major contributor to recognizing these special collections and assigning them pedigree status with a special denotation on the label. Many collectors hunt pedigree copies of books for their rarity and desirability and the provenance, and they typically sell for a premium to other books in the same grade. This is directly from CGC's website regarding the Ohio Pedigree. This large collection surfaced in Akron, Ohio, and spanned a 30-year period beginning in the early 40s with a wide variety of publishers and genres. In 1994, the original owner, who wanted to remain anonymous, began selling the collection piecemeal through an intermediary. Nelson Dodds bought most of it over the next 18 months. He sold them to other dealers at the same time to keep up cash flow. He did not market them as a pedigree because he did not realize the enormity of the collection until the end. Totaling nearly 6,000 books, the Ohios are known for their freshness and high page quality and are identifiable by penciled distributor codes written on the front covers. With that info for context, let's return to our review of this issue number 21 that I just picked up. Published in 1944, this wartime comic book was printed during the period of time when the title was published quarterly. All-Star Comics number 51 is a pretty rare book. There are only 74 universal copies in the CGC Census, with a median grade of 5.5. At 6.5, this copy ranks just outside the top third of all graded copies. So what is this comic book worth? It's difficult to place a fair market value on this one because due to the low census count, they trade hands rather infrequently. The last sale of a 6.0 was late in 2023 for $1,200. The last copy in grade sold in 2024 for $900, and the last 7.0 sold for $1,350. All these sales were before shipping and taxes. This copy was offered by CapCan on eBay with a buy it now of $1,375 Canadian, which is about $1,050 US. Being as I thought the approximate fair market value of a 6.5 was $900 to $1,200, a copy from a pedigree collection, especially one that I do not yet have represented in my registry collection, which often sells for a premium above regular universal fair market values, seemed very fair to me. After shipping, taxes, and tariffs, this book set me back just under $1,200 US, which I thought was a very fair price for both seller and buyer. With the addition of this copy to my CGC registry collection, I now have 5 pedigrees represented in my collection and thought I'd do a little tour of them to round out this video. Matt Nelson, the president of CGC, recently shared some data with me about pedigree comics that will be published in his upcoming book on the subject, and there are 18 pedigrees with at least one issue of All-Star Comics slabbed by CGC. So having 5 of those 18 represented in my collection is something of which I'm very proud. First up in our review is issue number 1 from the Carson City pedigree. Carson City is an interesting pedigree that consists of only first issues. In addition to being from this prestigious pedigree, this copy at 9.0 is the second best copy in the CGC Census. Fun story, it used to be tied for top pop with the Nick Cage copy, which were both graded at 9.0, but the Nick Cage copy was cracked and worked on and was regraded as a 9.2, so now it sits alone at the top of the census, It's currently offered at $59,000 on Comic Connect. Next, we have the first of 2 Rockford copies in my collection. This is issue number 4, the first actual adventure of the JSA, in 9.2, and is certainly one of the highlights of my collection. There are only 2 graded higher, both at 9.4, and none higher than 9.4 have been certified by CGC. Next up is the first of 2 Mile High copies in my All-Star collection. It's issue number 9 in 9.0. There are 3 copies higher, all at 9.2, which makes this copy one of the best copies in the world, but all the more special that it's from the famed Mile High collection put together by Edgar Church. The white pages are a testament to the quality of the Edgar Church Mile High Pedigree. Next, I have the second Rockford copy in my collection, issue number 19, in an incredible 9.6. This issue is tied for top pop with one other copy, and is certainly another one of the highlights of my entire All-Star comic book collection. Rounding out the Pedigree copies in my All-Star collection is issue number 45, the second Mile High copy in my registry collection, a beautiful 9.0 with off-white to white pages. There are only 3 higher in the census, 2 9.2s, and a single 9.4. It's an embarrassment of riches to be the current caretaker of these incredible pieces of American and comic book history. I understand just how fortunate I am to be able to put this sort of capital into funny books, believe me. For those of you interested in reading the Justice Society of America's adventures in All-Star Comics with a more modest investment, there are a number of less expensive alternatives. There's digital, of course, and for the analog folks, I recommend the beautiful archive editions from DC, the first of which was published in 1992. I hope you enjoyed this video on the Golden Age All-Star comic featuring JSA. By adding this beautiful Pedigree copy to my collection, I'm one step closer toward my goal of completing the original run. I had fun sharing this copy with you and reviewing the Pedigree copies I have the privilege of calling my own. Let me know in the comments below what your collecting goals are. Until next time, happy hunting and take care of one another.